Carmen arrived within hours, fury blazing in her eyes. "This is complete fabrication," she declared, hugging her mother tightly. "We're going to fight this." But the damage was spreading rapidly. Marcus called to tell them that his editor was reconsidering the story, concerned about the newspaper's liability if they accused Dr. Blackwood without absolute proof. The families of former patients were backing away, afraid of being associated with someone accused of drug theft. Elena sat in her darkened living room, watching her reputation crumble in real time on social media. Dr. Blackwood had turned her into the villain of the story, and without David's testimony or the financial records he had taken with him, she had no way to prove her innocence. "Maybe I should just accept defeat," she told Carmen that evening. "I'm 68 years old, and he's destroyed everything I've worked for." Carmen knelt beside her mother's chair, taking her weathered hands in her own. "Mom, do you remember what you used to tell me when I was little and the kids at school would tease me?" Elena managed a small smile. "That standing up to bullies is the only way to make them stop. Dr. Blackwood is just a bully with a medical degree and expensive suits. If we let him win, he'll keep hurting people." That night, Elena made a decision that would change everything. She called Marcus Rivera and told him she wanted to go public with her story, regardless of the personal cost. "Are you sure?" Marcus asked. "Once we publish this, there's no going back. Dr. Blackwood will use every resource he has to destroy you." "He's already destroyed my reputation," Elena replied, "but he hasn't destroyed the truth." The expose ran as a 3-part series in the Sunday edition, with Elena's story as the centerpiece. Marcus had managed to locate 2 other whistleblowers who corroborated the financial fraud, and Dr. Chen provided testimony about the equipment failures that had cost lives. The response was immediate and overwhelming. The state attorney general announced an investigation within hours of the first article's publication. The FBI raided Meridian Medical Center, seizing computers and financial records. Dr. Blackwood's carefully constructed empire began collapsing like a house of cards. But Elena's vindication came with a price. Dr. Blackwood's supporters launched a vicious campaign to discredit her, hiring private investigators to dig up dirt on her family and spreading rumors about her mental state. The stress took a toll on her health, and she was hospitalized twice for chest pains that doctors attributed to anxiety. Carmen took leave from her new job to care for her mother, and Marcus continued investigating despite death threats and attempts to hack his computer. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. David Martinez had not disappeared voluntarily, as they had assumed. He had been forced into hiding after receiving credible threats against his family. But he had been secretly working with federal investigators, providing them with the financial evidence needed to build a criminal case against Dr. Blackwood. When David finally emerged from witness protection to testify before a grand jury, the full scope of Dr. Blackwood's crimes became clear. He had embezzled over $15 million from the hospital, caused the deaths of at least 12 patients through negligent cost-cutting, and engaged in systematic discrimination against older employees. The grand jury returned indictments on 43 separate charges, including fraud, manslaughter, and racketeering. Elena was in her hospital bed, recovering from her latest anxiety attack, when Carmen burst in with the news. "Mom, they arrested him. Dr. Blackwood is in jail, and they're saying he'll never get out." Elena closed her eyes and felt 18 years of suppressed anger and frustration finally release. She had stood up to the bully, and for once, the bully had lost. 6 months later, Elena stood in the renovated lobby of Meridian Medical Center, now under new management. The hospital had been restructured as a non-profit organization, with a focus on patient care rather than executive profits. The new CEO, Dr. Lisa Park, had personally invited Elena to return to her position, with a substantial raise and full benefits. But Elena had other plans. With the financial settlement from her wrongful termination lawsuit, she had established the Elena Vasquez Foundation for Healthcare Workers' Rights. The organization provided legal assistance to employees facing discrimination and retaliation for reporting workplace violations. Carmen had been promoted to head nurse at the hospital's new cardiac unit, and David Martinez had returned as chief financial officer, tasked with implementing transparent financial practices. Dr. Blackwood was serving a 30-year sentence in federal prison, his medical license permanently revoked. At the foundation's inaugural gala, Elena stood before a crowd of healthcare workers, patient advocates, and community leaders. She wore a simple black dress, elegant but not ostentatious, and spoke without notes. For 18 years, I cleaned the floors of Meridian Medical Center, she began, her voice steady and strong. I was invisible to most people, just another member of the night shift. But being invisible taught me something important. It taught me to see. The audience listened intently as she continued. I saw how power can corrupt even those sworn to heal. I saw how silence enables evil to flourish. And I learned that sometimes the most important thing you can do is refuse to stay quiet, even when speaking up costs you everything you've worked for. She paused, looking out at faces that reflected her own determination. Dr. Blackwood thought he could intimidate me because I was old, because I was just a janitor, because I had no power. But he forgot something crucial. The truth has its own power. And when ordinary people find the courage to speak truth to power, miracles can happen. The applause was thunderous and sustained. Elena smiled, thinking about all the nights she had walked those hospital corridors, never imagining that her greatest contribution would not be cleaning up other people's messes, but exposing the biggest mess of all. After the gala, as Elena and Carmen drove home through the city streets, Carmen asked the question that had been on her mind for months. "Mom, what made you decide to fight? After everything he did to try to destroy you, what kept you going?" Elena considered the question, watching the lights of the city pass by her window. "You know, Mia, there's something Dr. Blackwood never understood about people like us. We may not have fancy degrees or expensive suits, but we have something he lost a long time ago. We remember where we came from. We remember what it's like to struggle, to be overlooked, to have doors closed in our faces." She turned to look at her daughter, her eyes bright with conviction. "And when you remember those things, you can't stand by and watch someone else go through them. Not if you have the power to stop it." Carmen reached over and squeezed her mother's hand. "I'm proud of you, Mom." Elena squeezed back, feeling the weight of the past year lifting from her shoulders. "I'm proud of us, Mia. We did this together." As they pulled into Elena's apartment complex, she looked up at her modest building and smiled. It wasn't much, but it was home. And tomorrow, she would wake up knowing that she had made a difference, that her voice, the voice of an invisible night shift janitor, had brought down a corrupt system and saved countless lives. Dr. Harrison Blackwood had learned the hard way that no one is ever truly powerless when they have the courage to speak the truth.